Bonds are one of the rarest and most important resources in all of Dead Rails, allowing you to buy classes, and even get a head start by buying items before you begin a run. However, with their rarity, not everybody will know how to find them, where they're most common, or are maybe just struggling in areas where the bonds spawn. So in today's video, I'm going to guide you through not only where to get bonds, but how to most effectively farm them, and when needed, how to beat the areas where you need to get them from. So if this video does end up helping you out, make sure that you subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss a single video or guide for Dead Rails. Also, we're trying to hit 300k by the end of the year, so that would be awesome if you could help. With all that said, let's get right into the video and help you out getting some bonds. So we're going to be doing a couple of different things today. So the first most common place that you're going to find bonds is going to be at a bank, which can be found at literally any town, no matter how big or small. It looks like we just have one bank in this town right here, but no big deal. So kind of the easiest way to do this is to get a horse, and you're going to want to kind of walk through the town a little bit and gather all of the zombies in a giant horde if possible. I've got probably half the town here. I'm just going to start taking them on. I don't have enough HP if I start getting smacked. Or if you have something like holy water, you can actually use that on a horde as well, and that should help you actually tackle it. Yeah, see, isn't that nice? Now, once you actually go and tackle all the zombies in the town, you'll eventually find this guy that has a top hat and a beard, which if I can flip him over, he looks like this. And he drops this right here, which is a code that you can use to unlock the vault inside of the bank. Now, what you can do is you can use the code to open up the bank by dragging the numbers to this little tip right here. Or alternatively, what you can do is you can use a piece of dynamite if you can't find the code, and you can bust the door wide open. Now, sometimes banks can be lackluster, like this one only gave me a single bond. I've never seen a bank have that little before. But usually banks are going to be the #1 way to get a large amount of bonds fairly quickly. That one just happened to be particularly lackluster. Now you'll find at least one bank in every single town, but you can find up to 5, though I've had people tell me that they found as many as 7 in a single town. I went ahead and found another town here. It looks like we only have one bank in this one as well. Pretty interesting that there's only one, but regardless, I went ahead and I found the banker here. Oh my God, what are the chances of having a code that is all one number? Okay, well, we're going to take that with us here. And what we can do is we can go ahead and just throw the code down. Obviously, we know it's all 5, so we're just going to drag the 5 up. And since it's only one number, I could just go ahead and click and it'll open up. And you can see we definitely have gotten more bonds in here. 6 in this one total. So we're now up to 38 compared to our starting 31. And all that we've done is we've hit 2 towns so far. That's it. It's only taken a couple of minutes. Now, while we are in a town, I will say too that technically every single house does have a chance of spawning with bonds inside. Now, it is pretty exceedingly rare, but if you're in a town like this and you're already looking for more maybe fuel or whatever other random items, I very much think it might be worthwhile, specifically if you are looking for bonds, to stop at each one of these, and maybe you'll even come across an officer's saber or cavalry sword, whatever. I've looked through just about every single building here and I've yet to find any other bonds, but it can happen. I have seen it happen before, so I will say just be aware there is a chance of finding bonds in every single one of these houses. Also, it's not just the houses too. It can spawn in literally like any of the sheriff buildings or furniture stores or anything like that too. Just super rare, like I said. Now, the final thing that I will say about the towns is the more you loot, the more bonds you're going to get. So if you have enough ammo and you have enough guts to be able to do it, you could loot literally every single town that you come across. Just take your time and you'll be able to literally maximize the amount of bonds that you can get by the end of the game. Now, the next area where you're going to be able to get around 10 to 15 bonds, basically guaranteed, is going to be the castle. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do the castle. One of the ways that I like to do it is I like to put my horse in the doorway. That prevents the wolves from getting out whenever they start to chase you, which they're kind of, there we go. So pretty much this will get them stuck in the doorway most of the time, at least. However, that is not always the best way to do it. And I will show you my preferred way to actually tackle the castle. That is kind of a lot easier. Okay, take 2. So what I usually like to do whenever I'm not absolutely destroying my own horse and getting myself killed is I like to circle the castle, because what that does first is it allows the vampires to spawn, and it allows them to kind of chase behind me where I can easily shoot them. After all the vampires are dead, which after circling for a couple seconds here, it looks like they basically all are, what I then like to do is usually step inside of the castle and lure out the werewolves. Yep, here they come. And then from there, it's pretty easy with a rifle. Why did my horse just kick me off of it? Dog, the horses are just being so mean to me today, but you get what I'm effectively trying to do here. Lure the werewolves out, get on your horse, and then run kind of backwards while shooting. Now, at a certain point, the vampires and the werewolves will both stop spawning, though for some reason this one in the back never seems to want to chase me. I don't know why. But then pretty much what you're free to do then is kind of roam the castle and check out all of the different bookshelves. Now, sometimes bonds can spawn on top. I've seen them spawn up there before, but just you want to make sure that you check every single bookshelf. You'll also find things like gold as well. Make sure that you take that so you could sell to hopefully advance further into the game. But you're going to want to check every single room because bonds can spawn pretty much in every single place in this castle. Now, if we go up to the vampire coffin room, you can see we'll get the vampire knife, obviously. And of course, we will get a lot more bonds with that too. Now, if we go up into the next room over here too, also on the second floor, you can see we do have quite a few more bonds in here as well. And of course, like I said, just make sure that you check the top of the shelves as well, because occasionally they can spawn up there, whether that's a feature or a bug. Doesn't matter. Now, of course, in this other room, you can find all kinds of ammo and stuff too, so make sure that you take your time and loot as needed. Now, we did start earlier with 31 bonds, and now we are into the mid-50s. So we've done 2 towns in the castle so far, which isn't normally as bad as I've made it out to be so far, but we've already got over 20 bonds in just 2 towns and the castle. Now, the next area that you are going to want to keep an eye out for is going to be the Tesla lab. Now, this one can kind of spawn seemingly anywhere. I've had people tell me that they found it at like 20k meters. Right now, I'm at about 50k, and it spawned right outside of my base, but I've had it literally in between 2 different bases before, or safe areas, so it can effectively be anywhere. If you have not done the Tesla lab before, pretty much to be able to get bonds from this location while it's safe by itself, you're going to want to walk around and make sure that you loot everywhere, and you keep an eye out for all of these werewolf body pieces. Now, of course, you also will come across gold and silver bars and stuff too, so definitely consider taking those if you would like. Once you grab all of the werewolf pieces, the only one left is going to be the brain, which is always going to spawn on this desk here in the back right of the Tesla lab. And pretty much what you're going to want to do is just put them all onto this board right here. I missed a piece. Now, after you do that, you're going to want to go to the back right of the building, and there's going to be this lever that you pull right here. Now, this is going to start a wave of these like science zombie guys that are going to spawn, and pretty much all that you have to really do is just stand up on top of this wheel right here, and none of the zombies will be able to get to you. Now, alternatively, if you are playing the priest class, you can go outside while riding a horse, and lightning will strike around you and it will not do damage. But otherwise, if you are not the priest class, this is going to be the safest way to be able to actually do this room. Now, about over the next 2 minutes, you're going to see this dial slowly spin up, and once it actually reaches its max point, you'll be safe to actually jump down. Now, just keep in mind, these zombies will still be in the other room if they have not gone into the room with you to be able to fight. So whenever you do jump down, they might swarm you. So if you want to have something like Molotovs ready, or even preemptively throw them out of the room, that might be the better way to do it than what I'm doing right here. Now, once we've fought off all the zombies, we can go inside of the main area and claim our prize, which is going to be a handful of bonds, not a crazy amount, but it's a couple little extra ones. And of course, the main reason that you're going to want to do this whole like building here is because of the electrocutioner, but of course the bonus is that you get some bonds with it. Now, one of the other areas that you will be able to find bonds in is going to be these like bandit camps or outlaw camps, whatever you want to call it. I don't see any at this particular one, but I feel like I've definitely seen them at this location before. And like I said earlier, generally speaking, any building or structure can have bonds in it. They just have a rarer chance if they're outside of towns. If anybody has more specific information on these particular like bandit camps, as I'm going to call them, definitely let me know in the comment section below, but I'm pretty sure the bonds can spawn at these locations as well. And for one of the last major areas where you can find bonds, it's going to be the military base. Now, this one I'm a little bit iffy about using a horse on. Pretty much I would just kind of take my time here and fight off as many of the, I guess, like military zombies as you could, since they do have guns and they can kill you extremely easily. And pretty much what you're going to be looking for is this captain guy right here. And whenever you kill him, he drops a key, which you can then use to open up the vault that is in the back of the base. And inside of there, you can find a nice handful of bonds as well as the cannon, which you can use to attach onto your train. But of course, the main reason that you're here is for the bonds, and this is definitely a great place to get them. Now, before we move on to the final place where we can get bonds in the current version of the game, but pretty much what you're going to want to do is just make sure that you armor up as best as you can before that, because we're going to be going to the final location, the Bandit Outpost type thing at the end of the game. Now, once you actually entirely clear out the initial wave, what you're going to want to do is not turn the wheel that's over there yet to start like the final wave. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to actually go around and check out all of the different buildings in the surrounding area, because every single one of these buildings has a chance and will more than likely actually spawn bonds in. You can see we're already up to 61. By the end of this, I imagine we'll probably have about 70. Now, if I just go ahead and I'm just going to loot the rest of the buildings that we have here, and I definitely was correct with my prediction that we are going to get at least 70 bonds. So thus far, we went from 31 to 70, netting nearly 40 freaking bonds. Now, there is kind of one more thing that we can do to get a nice other handful of bonds, and that is going to be just by beating the game. So we're going to go ahead, turn the wheel right here, and we have a 4-minute timer that starts. If you played this before, you'll probably know that already. But what we can do is we can hop up on top of the bridge right here, and if you did the Tesla lab earlier, you will have that boss battle to do. But what we can do, at least in the current version of the game, is hop down here onto this ledge here. Now, this entirely might be gone. Just keep in mind, by the time that you see this video, there is a chance that they could have updated the game and you won't be able to come down here anymore. But for the current time, you could just wait down here for the timer to end. boom, we have ended the game with 116 bonds. Now, we did that in a couple of ways. Now, first of all, we beat the game, which gave us an extra 10 bonds, but we also happened to complete some challenges along the way too. Now, of course, we just did the base one here of escaping, which gave us 5 bonds on top of the 10 that we got for beating the game, but we also got Bounty Hunter as well, giving us another 5. Unkillable, which is beating the game without having a player die, which gave us 30 freaking bonds. Now, keep in mind, there are still all of these other challenges that we can complete, but those are all fantastic ways to actually be able to get a ton of bonds. But now the final bit of the video for today is going to be what should you do with your bonds once you get them? But pretty much with whatever bonds you actually end up getting, I can imagine the first thing that you're going to want to do is pick out a class. Now, this is going to be entirely dependent on what exactly you're looking for a class, but I do have a class guide if you'd like to check that out. I will link it at the top of the description below and in the pinned comment. But the first class that I would always recommend anybody get is going to be Doctor. It costs, I believe, only 15 bonds, and it lets you spawn in with some medical supplies, which is going to give you a great head start. Or if you just want something cheap to kind of get yourself going to be able to redo the grind for more bonds in the future. Now, that is pretty much going to be it for the current version of the game. Like I said earlier, please do subscribe because as they add more areas and more ways to obtain bonds, I will make sure to cover those in future bonds guides to be able to help you get as many as possible. And with that said, huge thanks for watching. Big shout out to all the channel members up on screen. You guys are fantastic. You can become one too with the join button below to help support the channel just that little bit extra. Definitely get subscribe with notifications on if you have not done so already. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, dudes. Peace.